starting to think that males mature faster than females. Hit me good one time with this. Last night I was on the phone with my first love for about 3 hours. And we were talking about when we were teenagers. Oh, lovers, young at heart, puppy lovers, big old kids, both of us. I don't know why I think about that song when I think about him. But anyway, I dogged his ass out so bad in high school. I'm ashamed of myself. I'm so ashamed. I'm ashamed. And he was so bitter and so hurt about it. And I'm like, honey, I was 16. I was doing everything wrong. Like, how didn't you forgive me once we got older and I apologized to you? Like, why did you never take me back? Because I tried to get him back after that, because I understood that what I did was wrong. He was like, I was just too bitter. I was too hurt. I thought you was going to hurt me again. And I was like, I was a teenager. I was like 16. And so I think about all of the men who get online every day and they're complaining about women. And they have this hatred for women so much. I mean, they got men going their own way. Every man in the black manosphere, save yourself, black men, incel, red pill, all of this stuff. I mean, I'm serious. If you pay attention to even just my comment section, you will see how many men are actually hurt. So that leads me to believe that they were falling in love and taking it serious a lot earlier than girls were. That's why to this day, even if they're in their 20s and their 30s, they're still taking out on women what happened to them when they was in middle school and high school. Like they was made fun of by a whole bunch of girls, or they got played by some girl. Think about it like that. So they was taking relationships and marriages and stuff serious in like middle school. And they have taken that with them into adulthood. Something to think about. For the record, he's a happily married man. He has a bunch of kids now. He's living a good life. And I'm so happy for him that he let what happened between us go and made room for another woman to love him the way that he wanted to be loved. Do you understand? So I think with men who were hurt when they were young, and you sit there and you resent the women that hurt you, that you don't make room for a woman to actually be what you need her to be out of fear of being hurt again. So his courage is commendable. I wonder how many of you ladies weren't raised properly. And when I say raised properly, like you weren't taught really how to deal with the opposite sex. And then on top of that, you might not have been taught how to deal with other females. So you don't have good relationships with females. You don't have good relationships with males. Who's left after that? You know, I'm thinking about this because I was having a conversation last night with someone who's known me since I was like 15. And we were talking about how I was hell for a long time. And it really stemmed from the other women in my family. Because the other women in my family were a trip as well. Drug abuse, alcohol abuse, promiscuity, using men for money, manipulating shit. I could go on and on about the women in my family. I think out of all the women in my family, I think I could count on one hand how many of them are actually good women. And I was saying to this person who known me for a long time, like, the women in my family, they didn't teach me wife material stuff. They didn't teach me how to cook or clean or be a wife to a man. And they always taught me to never put my trust in men, to go out there and get some money and get a decent job and be independent. The end. Not teach me about codependency, life partnership, nothing. I asked my mother for relationship advice when I was in my early 20s. I asked her, how could I get a husband? She said, why you asking me? 'Cause you my mother. Who else I'm supposed to be out here asking? Oh, all of these men that want to sleep with me? Okay. I ended up learning how to be a decent woman from a man. You know who saved my life? My first love, because he taught me a whole bunch of like positive stuff. He always told me to choose positivity over negative stuff. And my daughter's father taught me how to be a good woman for a man. How many of you were taught how to be a decent woman from a man that wasn't your father? A man that you wasn't related to? How many of you can actually admit that you didn't have proper guidance? The reason why I decided to be a life coach and do it on the internet is so that when women are out here looking for someone to talk to, be like, or get some advice from, bam, I'm here. I'll be your auntie, big sister Somo. I'm here for you if you're willing to listen. Ladies, let me tell you something real about celibacy. Celibacy is going to sift out a lot of men, all right? But one thing you can't do is try to use celibacy against a man. Like, it don't work. I don't care how many days you hold out. I don't care how many bodies you have. I don't care how many bodies you don't have. When you dealing with a man, I mean a real one, okay? A solid man. He's not thinking about the relationships that you were in prior. It doesn't give you more bargaining power if you were with less men. That's not a real man's perspective. A real man is trying to figure out if you are somebody that he could actually match with, build a life with. Your track record as far as how many men you've slept with or how short or long you make a man wait before he has sex with you, it's not going to give you some type of bargaining power with the right man. What the right man is looking for is someone he could talk to, someone who will listen to him, someone who is supportive. Can you be there for him in his times of need? I mean, is your head on straight for real? Because a lot of y'all cuckoo. And when I say head on straight, I don't just mean your education. I mean, are you mentally healthy? Do you know how to not be combative and argue all the time? Do you know how to have adult conversation without being rude? A lot of y'all are nasty when you disagree with a man. Are you investing into hypergamy because you're looking for a man to use for money? These are things that men are thinking about when they're actually looking for a decent woman. And I mean a man who is genuinely looking for someone to spend the rest of his life with. He's not thinking about your exes or who you used to sleep with. He's trying to figure out, do you have self-control right now? Can you handle being in a relationship with me right now and for the rest of our lives? I mean, what a man look like going on a first date being like, yo, so how many people you slept with? Like, what? Like, that's not how that goes. Like, when you naturally connect with somebody, like the connection just has to be there, you know, and sometimes it's just not there with these dudes. You know, sometimes it's just not going to be there. Some men still out here trying to figure out what man they want to be. But these men are not looking for what women think men are looking for. Y'all are concerned about what fuckboys and dusties are looking for. And if you keep listening to all of these men on the internet give you this poor advice about what kind of woman you should be, you're never going to be able to find a decent person. It's a lot of men who are shallow with a dubious character. Make sure you're not listening to those kind of men for relationship advice, please. And don't think for 2 minutes that you could use celibacy as a way to get a man to do what you want him to do. Celibacy is so you can get closer to God. Celibacy has something to do with you and your higher power. If you want to hold off on having sex with a man so you can take the time to get to know him, that sounds like a better idea. But don't think you can control him with sex. Hold off and chill because you want to get to know him. You want to love him first before you have sex with him. That's what I'm all about, because I don't even understand how y'all keep having casual sex. That shit is boring to me. I can't do it. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta love a man. I gotta really be into him like that. Ladies, let me tell you something real about celibacy. Celibacy is gonna sift out a lot of men, all right? But one thing you can't do is try to use celibacy against a man. Like, it don't work.
Listen, what I'm saying is, I think we live in this purity culture. I mean, not to shade, no shade on your religion, because you just mentioned the Bible. I get that, but we live in this culture where we assign more meaning to someone that's closer to being a virgin, or has less body counts, or can hold out longer to have sex. I don't necessarily assign that same meaning. I don't think it makes you more valuable of a person. What are your communication skills like? Do we vibe? Do we connect? Do you make me laugh? Are you a great listener? Can you comfort me? Do you validate me emotionally like I'm seeking to have in a relationship? Are we great as partners? What are your finances like? What are your goals? What are your careers like? Those things are far more valuable than me saying, well, you made me wait 90 days. I'm going to give you 10 points. I don't really get that much gratification. It doesn't make me feel like, well, I had to really work hard for it. She's not easy, so I want to be with her more. You're broke and you ain't got your head on straight and you got a temper problem. That don't overshadow those other things. So my point is, if we're not vibing like we vibing anyway, then it don't matter if you made me wait 90 days. And if we are, it don't matter if I waited 90 days or not.
I've been celibate for a long time. My ring is my celibacy ring. I'm not anxious to be married or date or nothing. And people wonder why often. It's simple. Not all relationships heal you, and being single is not going to kill you. The more grateful you are with where your life is right now, the more beautiful the world becomes. Ooh, some of these men are so lost that they are hurting the women that God sent to heal them. I used to pray over the men that I dated so much. I used to, ask God to give them the life that they wanted and give me a life with them. And for years I did that. And then one day I just was like, I'm never praying for men again. I stopped asking God to send me a man. I stopped asking God to send me the man that I wanted. I stopped asking God to send me the man that he wanted for me, because it never came. I prayed for God to make me be right. So when I do meet the right guy, my life would be great. I stopped praying for that. I didn't stop believing in a higher power simply because it seemed like my prayers were unanswered. And at some point I had to just accept that the answer was no. I just started asking for stuff like the greatest good, or I just flowed with the way things flowed. I had to accept the fact that that's just not what's going to happen for me. At some point I had to just let it go. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not going to come, but honestly, my intuition is telling me that it isn't. When me and my son's father broke up in 2017, I knew it was it. Like, my intuition was like, this is your last relationship right here. God knows how I love to take care of people. And so God was like, okay, you want a man to take care of? Here, have a son. So it's a wrap, God got jokes. God got jokes. Like, I'm my son's first love, so I have to teach my son how to treat women and how to be kind and how to find the right woman to marry and how to have a decent character. But I honestly feel like I've always felt comfortable not being in a relationship, because anytime I would get in a relationship, I would be under so much stress. I was just like, you know what? This might be a good thing for me. So my suggestion to ladies is pray for the greatest good and pray for you to be able to handle whatever the universe has for you. That way you won't be miserable when you don't get the things that you pray for sometimes. The material things, the relationships, the money, the success, the career, whatever it is that you're praying to God for, don't pray for that. I personally think people can manifest anything. But if your manifestation doesn't come fast enough, or when you thought you could have it, don't be disappointed. Understand that the universe knows something. And it's trying to give you something better that's suitable for you. And sometimes you thinking you want something and then you get it and you get buyer's remorse. So the universe just knows something you don't know. Pray that the universe tells you what you don't know. Like, if you really are like, why I'm not getting this thing, ask the universe to tell you why. And then you be like, oh. How many times does a black woman have to be abandoned with a child, or see another black woman abandoned with a child, before they stop dealing with a black man? And of course, people are going to say, oh, you giving up on black love because you're bitter. But I'm happy. You're never fully dressed without a smile. I woke up this morning with pizzazz. What's even more out of this world is that black men will try to convince me that they don't usually date outside of their race.
There's an alarmingly large amount of black men on dating apps that I match with that will proceed to say with their whole chest that they only date white women because black women have too much attitude. And I used to go back and forth and be like, no, that's not gonna fly, and point out how wrong that is.
They just don't want black women to do it. And this whole Russell Wilson Future argument that I've been seeing, One guy came into my comment section and he said to me, black women will turn around and have a whole bunch of babies by the wrong guy and then expect the nice guy to be the cleanup man, right? And that's honestly the truth for everybody. Every time you get in a relationship with someone, you are cleaning up a mess that the person that they was with before made, regardless to whether a child is involved or not. Men will scavenge the earth looking for women to hurt until they're ready to be in a relationship. They suddenly want a woman who isn't damaged. But let a young girl choose the wrong young man at an early age, and then she learns a lesson and turns around and grows up and chooses a grown-ass man. Oh, it's a big problem now. Newsflash, fellas, women are out here doing the same thing that you are doing, whether it's casually sleeping around, being a savage like Jada Pinkett, or upgrading like Sierra. Y'all can't stand it. You say we're guilty of something, but you guys do the same shit. We're human beings. After I read this, I was convinced that women leave relationships for some of the dumbest reasons. I need advice, ladies. My husband was texting one of his co-workers who also happens to be married. My husband was describing a woman who works with them and said, bro, she's fire. The one with the fat ass and shit like that. I brought it up to him and he said absolutely nothing, like dead silent. I just got out of bed and slept in our daughter's room because I was disgusted with his lack of response as well as the actual text. I'm seriously thinking about ending it. What do you all think? What would you all do? Oh, and to put the icing on the cake, I just gave birth to our daughter last week. First of all, you was looking through his phone, you was looking for something, and you found something, ma'am. So you ready to end your whole marriage with a man that you just had a baby with because he has proved that he has eyeballs? Y'all, that fairy tale about a man only having eyes for you is exactly a fairy tale, okay? Even men who love their wives deeply can see other women's beauty. There will always be a woman prettier than you, smarter than you, have more money than you, probably got more men than you. You just got to make sure that the man that you with isn't always looking for something better than you. I was like, this woman is tripping. Do you know how much stuff women put up with just to say that they have a husband? Him complimenting other women at his job is a walk in the damn park compared to what women be dealing with just to keep their husband. Just so they can say that they somebody's wife. Better have a whole seat and hold on to that man. All he doing is seeing chicks at work. He ain't sleeping with nobody. Now, if that man start cheating on you with somebody at his job, now that's a whole nother situation. But him complimenting a woman, that doesn't mean he's headed for an affair. It just means he's complimenting another woman and he's having man talk with another man. That's what they talk about. If you had a man around you long enough, you'd know that.